Let's now engage Reverend Father Andrew Campbell, who is a Catholic priest here in Ghana, works also with marginalized groups, including persons who have recovered from some diseases that other persons will not want to get close to. Grateful for your time, Reverend Father Campbell. You have worked with the Pope who just passed. What will you remember him for?
Hello, good morning. Father Campbell here. Hello?
Hello, Father. Did you hear me, please?
Yes, Campbell, yes.
Right, Father Campbell, so we've just been eulogizing the Pope. He's worked with marginalized groups. You are working with people who are cured lepers, another group of marginalized persons. What would you remember the Pope for?
Yeah, I'll always remember Pope Francis because last year, the 17th of May, I had the privilege of having a private audience with Pope Francis. I always wanted to see him. I always wanted to shake hands with Pope Francis. He was my mentor. I looked to him as my example because he was somebody that I admired. And after my 50 years working here with the lepers in Ghana, I asked my superiors, could I go to Rome and visit the Pope? And they gave me permission and arranged it for me. And it was a wonderful occasion to meet Pope Francis. He was so welcoming. He was just, he said, everybody smiled for the Pope, smiled. And then he said, Father, how old are you? I said, I'm 78. He said, oh, Father, you are a brave man, a brave man. He said, take courage, take courage, take courage. He said, don't give up. Continue the work of looking after the poor and needy. And he was wonderful. It was such a wonderful audience I had with him.
That's wonderful that you've met the Pope before he passed on. But what ran through your mind when the news broke about his death?
Yeah. When I heard of his death, I was sad, but he was a man. He was just such a wonderful person. We all have to follow his example now. Continue his way. He's passing the baton on to us now. We have to continue where he started. He was a man of spirituality, deep spirituality. He was a man for the poor. He was a man for the ordinary person. So I think we have to continue where he stopped. And I think this is the great legacy he's leaving us. I mean, I've always seen him with his rosary beads. He was always a man who prayed. Before he died, he even went to the St. Peter's. He went for his confession there. He was telling us what to do. Go to your confession. Pray your rosary. And each time he went to his church, he loved that church, Mary Major. Every time he traveled, he always visited his church, Mary Major. And that's where he wants to be buried, in that church devoted to Mother Mary, whom he had special devotion to. So he was a man of prayer. A man of people. That's what gave him that inspiration, that courage to do all the great things which he has done. And he was a man for the poor. He was always with the poor. On Saturday, just Saturday gone by, Holy Saturday, he spent half an hour at the prison visiting the prisoners. Can you imagine? Half an hour. He stayed there. And the next 2 days later, he died.
Yeah.
And he's a man that always did the poor. Every country he went to, he always made sure he visited the poor and the needy. He's such an inspiration to us. And we have to continue on. He's given us the baton. We have to continue on that work that he started.
Right. It's great you just pointed out what his legacy is and what he will be remembered for. Just to find out, we are in the Easter period. Does his death within this period add anything to how solemn it should be observed?
We must continue. I think he's a very ordinary, simple man. That he didn't want anything special. He said, I'm an ordinary person. He told us to get out of the sacristy and the smell of the sheep. He was one of those down-to-earth people. Down-to-earth. Go out and work with the people. Don't stay in big. It's not power. Go out and work with the people and the smell of the sheep. This is what he wanted. He didn't want anything big, big, big. He was always with the people, even where he stayed. When he died, he was in the house, the place he died in. He didn't want to stay in the big Vatican. He stayed with others in the community. He wanted to be with people. You know, he's such an inspiration to all of us. And all we can do is to say, thank God for the gift of this man who has left us. And we know the Lord will reward him for his great life. He's an inspiration to each and every one of us.
Reverend Father, so help us understand. I know that we're all mourning now, but for those who are not familiar with Catholic tradition, now that the Pope has passed, what happens next?
The College of Cardinals takes over. They will take over the running of the church. And within 5 or 6 days, they will arrange for the funeral of the Pope, which is normally held at the square, the piazza in front of the Vatican. And there they'll have the funeral in 5 to 6 days, and all the cardinals will come from all over the world. They will come. And the Pope is normally buried at the Vatican. But Pope Francis doesn't want to be buried at the Vatican. He wants to be buried at St. Mary Major, the church he loved so much. You know, and this is out of tradition. He wants to be buried in that particular church that he loves so much, so much he loved it. And he wants a simple funeral. He has revised a lot of the funeral rites to make it very simple. And then after the funeral, in 15 to 20 days after the death of the Pope, we have the conclave. And all the cardinals over the world will come. There's about over 230 or 40 cardinals. They'll all come from all over the world, and they'll come to the Vatican. And they will go to the Sistine Chapel. But only 138 of them who are below the age of 80 are allowed to vote. Those over 80 will not be allowed to vote. So the 138 below the age of 80 will be allowed to vote for a new pope. And the new pope will be elected. They have in the morning and elected in the afternoon.
How soon will this? How soon is this expected to happen? How soon is this expected to happen?
Well, you'll have the funeral within 5 to 6 days, and then within 15 to 20 days, you will have the conclave of the cardinals. So work that out. That's about 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. That's Reverend Father Campbell.